So, with no further ado, and I still don't know what an ado is, but we'd like to welcome Stoic Dan.
Stoics are very good at managing stress, and I can put everyone at ease. The noise from the roof are workers in the building today. I let them in through the front door. So it's your fault. Okay, so to get down to business, my presentation today is called Stoic Ethics for Business Leadership. This is something I collected these ideas today, but it comes from a class that I taught in this room through the year from January to December 2023. The incubator let me teach that class here to reach new entrepreneurs so that they can understand how to incorporate ethics into their business, not just the usual things of, making a successful product and hiring a lot of people. All right, well, everyone should start their presentation with a backstory. This backstory starts, I attended a meeting before the pandemic at Church Street Station. Some of you may remember there were business startup meetings that happened there on Church Street. And I remember one meeting I went to before the pandemic. It was a group of about 20 entrepreneurs. That night, they were all very energetic and animated. The pizza was not so great that night. But their goals, I clearly remember their goals. They were talking about how they were going to build their companies. That is, how much profit they wanted to make, how many employees they wanted to hire, the big buildings they wanted to occupy. And so I noticed that there was no mention of ethics or serving the community. Why was that? It's just not top of mind. So the problem that we have is that books on ethics today are frankly boring, okay? They have a lot of theories, they pose a lot of dilemmas, but they don't really have motivational material. So we need a better source of inspirational material. And that's where Stoicism comes in. That's the area of history and philosophy that I teach. It's from about 300 BC to 200 AD. That's a period of 500 years when some of the great Stoic thinkers were alive and wrote down their ideas. The last of the Stoics from that ancient period is Marcus Aurelius, someone you may have heard of before. He was the Roman emperor, also known as the Good Emperor. And he wrote down his ideas in a book that we today call the Meditations. But when he wrote it down, it was his diary. In Greek, it's called tois eton, which means to myself or to himself. He was writing ideas to himself to improve his own character. And some of the things that he wrote about are the 4 Stoic virtues, which are still universal things that we can understand today. So why do we need this new approach to ethics and young entrepreneurs? Well, the research that this is very well documented stuff. I got this screen, one of many from the Pew Charitable Trust. It talks about how younger adults are less likely to identify with a religious group in 41 countries. Okay, so in other words, this is what in modern culture we talk about people falling out of religion. Now, this is not a bad thing. If you are a religious person, that's fine. But the reality is a lot of young people are growing up without religious training, and therefore they feel unaffiliated, or some people call it faith and non-faith groups. So these two areas have to coexist. And the reason why I bring this up is because Stoicism is secular in nature today. The way that the modern Stoics are teaching this and writing their books and their classes is there is no relying on the divinity in order to reach for the virtues. And the result that we see, these are some of the main areas that Stoics are great at. Dealing with obstacles, you've probably heard about that, Stoics and obstacles. That's sometimes the first introductory thing. How do we deal with obstacles? Well, if we can keep our tranquility, like you see in the little diagram there, if you encounter an obstacle and you keep calm or keep your tranquility, then you can practice reasoning or a more intelligent choice, and that solves the obstacle, and then you're ready for the next obstacle as well. You'll exercise tranquility, slowing down the thinking a little bit, keeping calm. Also, this same approach, this same little cycle applies to managing anger. If you are in a car wreck and you jump out of your car and you're very angry, well, you're likely to cause more trouble than the accident itself. You know, in culture, some of us are just, we have issues with anger, and whether you go to anger management or you practice a little stoicism, that can help you get through those, feel the anger and you handle it better. Similarly with stress, we know how to keep stress down because we think our way through these problems. We don't just panic, because the panic, the impulse to panic, is something that does not solve the problem. I could go into this longer, but my 6 minutes is almost up already. Also, Stoics are very good at persistence because we know we can work on this problem, this obstacle, and get through it. And maybe, you know, take a different approach next time. These are some of the great authors that I've studied. Seneca the Younger, Epictetus, the one in the middle, he's the one with a difficult name to pronounce. Epictetus was born a slave, and but he became a great teacher towards the end of his life, which was 135. And Marcus Aurelius on the right there, his writings are still very much studied today, and a lot of young people like reading Marcus Aurelius. Many are introduced in high school. All right, so here's the conclusion. Through these ancient authors that I've just mentioned on the screen there, and the modern authors, of which there are many, we can learn how to do these basic things, how to treat people ethically with secular values. So that means that no matter what group you're in or they're in, you can treat them with ethical values that are understandable and universal. This applies to both customers and employees. So remember, you have two groups of people that you work with, and it will work with people worldwide because these ethical values work for everyone. Okay, oh, I got one more item there. In addition, by going through this type of training program, we will also have a chance for finding more meaning and fulfillment in life. Okay, so my business model, I got to wrap up because I'm over time. The business model is basically going to be based on the curriculum I've developed, not only at the class I taught here, but also over 9 years of teaching this in philosophy discussion groups. I'm going to create a series of books and workbooks. They will be low priced. There'll be online courses, either as a form of videos or Udemy or some site like that. I'm also trying to keep the price down for that because I realize that startup companies often don't have their funding yet. So why should I try to price it too high? And I'm also thinking of a monthly Zoom class that would be more interactive than just watching a video or reading a book. So those are the practical goals. Oh, and in the class, we will also teach how to actually write your ethics statement. All right. There we go. That's my contact information. Scott, do we have any questions?
Do we have any questions for Dan? Thank you very much. As I would start off with, you know, you're obviously building a business with this. How are you looking at marketing this beyond your current reach?
Ethically.
Ethically.
Yeah. Well, the first way is to use the internet in a smart way, which is to post content that is good content. In other words, articles that are not just full of filler material, but also have the keywords or the tags in there so people can find them. Same thing with a YouTube video. When you post a video, if you have a description that is a paragraph of good keywords like Marcus Aurelius, some people may be looking for that. Some people may be looking for another keyword. If I at least have that in the description, then people can find it naturally on the internet.
If I can make a suggestion,
yeah.
When you do social media ads, not necessarily a meme, but you know, have a picture and have a question that many people who are ask themselves, and then have an answer, a short answer from Epictetus or
Epictetus.
Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius or the younger or whatever, and with their name, and then for more information would come.
Oh,
That's what
good one.
I think it did well.
Well, not really a question, more a statement. Every company needs to have a mission statement, and your mission statement really should be your ethics statement. You need to live by that, and every decision that you make, if it goes along with your mission statement, you're gonna be okay as a company.
Yeah, so you mentioned compatibility with religion, but I'm thinking, like, again, from the UX perspective, like, let's say, you get the market research psychologists, they come back with perhaps different answers than what you came up with. How do you weigh that? How do you make sure that whatever ethics statement you have, it's compatible with like the genuine market research?
Well, I must say I have to look into that market research. I know my definition for that is to find where your market is,
Yeah.
but not how to approach it ethically. So I think that these are like two sides of a coin to me. Is that?
Well,
are you saying market research is an ethical process?
Well, I think in terms of, like, I'm thinking of ethics on a broader scope, I guess, in terms of just customer and employee behavior, right? And so if you're looking, you can do research on customer and employee behavior, and I'm thinking, like, okay, well, if you're going to be in a situation where those two things may interact, I guarantee you're going to have differences. And so it's like, how do you?
Oh.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking, evaluating different sides or different groups, one
Yes.
group against the other,
Precisely.
one person and the many.
Yes.
There are lots of things to get into there. Yeah, I need to.
The whole idea I understand is that to stay in the logical mind and don't get into the emotion, whether it's anger or frustration or all that, because that's when the fight's over, you've lost it because you're in an emotional state. But emotional states are important for sales, so how would you do your presentation starting with an emotional story?
Yeah, that's something that, to be ethical for me, to be strictly ethical, you would not whip the audience up into a frenzy just to buy your product. You know, I've been to presentations over the years where they get you very excited and they use a lot of adjectives, great, amazing, but what are they really providing? You know, the logical mind needs to think about that before you pay your money. And so I would encourage you to appeal to the function of a product, not to the adjectives. Actually say what about this product or service is really going to save you money, or save you time, or help you do some process better.
You know, before you have any product, you need an ethical process to get to this product. You know, and I think big hotels with huge amount of employees, the lack of ethical understanding is what gets them in trouble.
Right,
So,
and it's not just hotels. I mean, it's also high-tech companies sometimes push the product out the door without sufficient testing. They just want to get it, in the market and start making money, and they don't realize that a recall or having to refund money is terrible. Is a terrible thing to do to yourself as an entity.
Yes. Thank you for your presentation, Dan. I could listen to you talk all day. And I am a person of faith, so go figure. So my question is, in your teaching, have you ever implemented like case studies or something that would allow your students to compare what ethical behavior in business looks like versus unethical behavior in business?
Right, yeah. In the class that I taught here over a course of 12 months, there were many case studies of large companies who made this decision or that decision and how it turned out good or bad because they considered ethics or not. So there are lots of those studies available. Yeah.
Great, that's great information.
Yes. Do you have a specific format for your course? Is it like a workshop, or is it a specific set of items that you're coaching, or what?
Yeah, it's going to take a two-part format. When you teach philosophy in general, the way that the modern scholars have done it is they create workbooks. That is, it's a book that usually folds flat on the table, And you not only read the chapter, but at the end of the chapter, there are spaces to fill in your answers for how you're preparing to do some process, or how you're trying to improve your character, or what is it you have trouble with. Maybe whenever you go to the office, there's always that troubling person. You write down these issues, and then you start approaching them using the book and its concepts. How do I get through these things, day to day, week to week, whatever? And so that workbook format is the first thing I want to do, because I've already seen how the scholars do it. And then after that, I'm trying to innovate some new technology. Maybe you can enter an ethics statement into the computer, and an AI program will evaluate it and say, oh, you covered, you got these items, but you missed some others. So that would be an interactive part.
Just based off like everything you're saying, I think one of the things that like send this over the edge for, and I don't know where you are in the process, but on YouTube, if you can do a lot of like the bits and the knowledge that you have just in those 60-second shorts and do it like you're gonna grow such a large following, then you'll start getting people that really want to get the work with, because like you've already given us the knowledge. Like, that was just one tidbit. I don't know if you were going down that path, but if you can do short 60-second videos on, you will get it to wherever your end goal is.
Thanks.
So Dan, is there any specific type of ethics that would be across all different types of industries, or are they something that's more personalized? What do you find?
Yeah, from class, I remember there's one major subdivision, because the when you take the basic Stoic virtues, they really do apply to all people, all industries, everything. But there is one particular one about how you treat the environment. And of course, it's not just, for environmental concerns, environmental issues today. I know it can be controversial at times, but we are living on a small blue dot, in space. We have to take care of this. This is our home. And so a lot of companies either have a small environmental footprint, maybe the packages that are coming and going. How do you pack them? Do you use recyclable things? Or maybe have a large impact. Maybe you're producing chemicals and they have to be disposed of right. So environment is one specific area that I did develop. I think it was about June or July in the class, and I addressed those specifically with specific virtues.
I'm kind of thinking as we're talking about this and listening to you, and I've heard you speak a lot, there are companies out there whose sole purpose is to benefit off of people's unethical behavior. Literally, I know. Would you think?
Like attorneys. Yeah.
Like social
Did
media.
I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
I feel you're so bad.
You're not an attorney. Just to say.
But you play one on
But-
TV.
But I was
But he
never
can,
asked.
but he can set you up with a good ethical.
To get you out
He
of
slept
the
at a Holiday Inn
thing you
Express
did.
But he's not at a Holiday Inn Express. No, but I'm wondering if, as you develop your message, without necessarily running the risk of calling out specific companies, maybe calling out some specific behaviors, and say, this a company has done this. The result is this, and to the point of maybe YouTube Shorts, again, you get to weigh, is getting a viral video out there a Stoic thing to do?
Boy, you have to be careful with that.
You do. But even maybe playing with that, and question, if you question whether or not going viral as a Stoic was a Stoic thing to do, I can almost guarantee you that would find some virality.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. When a video goes viral, that's actually one of the things I did cover in class, is about how influencers, which is like a whole new cottage industry, how very often they try to pretend to be more successful than they truly are. There was one famous example of a woman. I think she pretended to go to Paris and all these exotic places, And then they found out she photoshopped her pictures at the tower, Eiffel Tower. And so when you're found out later, you know, even a young person can understand this. If you are doctoring the images and you're found out later, your reputation is destroyed. You were trying to build a reputation, but you ruined it. And so that's another reason why we need ethics.
Every picture is a lie, though.
There goes all my mirror.
Eric.
Jane on Zoom recommended a couple of books that the Orange County Library has. Competing in the Age of AI, Strategy and Leadership when the Algorithms and Networks Run the World. And also, new book on business ethics, Good Power, Leading Positive Change in Our Lives, Work, and World. So if you want either of those books, see Jane.
Come on.
If you want any book, or if you want any information on anything, ever.
Delivered to your house.
I can't emphasize enough what a resource the Orange County Library System is, and Jane Tracy at the downtown branch can guide you through all of that, and she is wonderful.
Careful, she's listening.
I know.
Well, actually, to follow Jane's comment there, or suggestions, it's also the Stoic thing to do, to work hard and do the research, you know, of a certain area that you want to get into. Since I'm going to be teaching ethics, those recommendations by Jane are something I should do. I should take the time, because it will get me to a clearer picture of where I need to go with this. And very often when we're building a business, we just want to jump in and get started making money and building the company. So very often, if you don't do the hard work, you'll have trouble later. I always refer back to the famous example. There's a company called Google. Everyone has heard of Google. But you know, in the early days, before they had the search engine, it was the Yahoo search engine. If some of you remember how Yahoo worked, it was like a big telephone book with categories, and you had to do a lot of searching yourself. But once Google indexed everything, all the websites, they took the time to write an algorithm that indexed and organized all those keywords and made them searchable in like 1/10 of a second. That work paid off and made them a worldwide standard. So you got to put in the work.
Have you ever read the book on how Google started it?
Yeah.
They had a bunch of criminals. And it's a fact. Go read up on who runs it, what they do, how they do. And to me, that's a perfect example of the wrong way of it. I appreciate those multi-billionaires and they have all this. But when you dig into the source of that organization, it's kind of scary.
Can you find it on Google, or you have to search?
You probably have to find it on DuckDuckGo. Anyone else?
Curious, are you looking to present, I mean, to have your class be for people who are already sort of, yes, I love ethics, or also like looking to maybe interest more people and like convince them that you need this, sort of like people who don't know that they need something, like they just need it to.
Right. I think the first step I should do is using, you know, the other ideas from here today, is I should make a series of short videos, YouTube, TikTok, on, you know, just interesting ideas to bring people into this area. And then from there, I could launch a class which is monthly, online, or weekly, or something. I'm also glad to say that in 1 month's time, I'll be in Manhattan teaching this idea to a group of humanists. The Humanists is another secular worldwide group, and they're interested in seeing how I applied ancient wisdom to modern leadership. So I think I got to go through that process.
Okay.
And you need to develop a 20-minute program about this and make the rounds of all the Rotary clubs, because all we talk about ethics, and that's what we want from our people. We've got the 4-way test, obviously, in Rotary itself. I'll explain that to you. Maybe you can even tie it into what your presentation is going to be. I think it would be fabulous.
Rotary is not going to get you in the paper. What's going to get you in the paper is you teach it down at 33rd Street. Ethics at the jail. If that ain't getting the news out. You know, teach them how to turn their way around.
Jane also posted, Jim Lohr has written many works on success. He wrote like The Full Power of Engagement, The Only Way to Win, The Power of Story. Apparently his company is now in Lake Nona. So, you guys.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot about books, about criteria and things like that. So I just wanted to share quickly, I'll be presenting next week at other publishing companies. This is some of my books. I teach people how to write and publish your book, and how to use your book as your business card. So I'll be presenting that next week, just let you guys know. And then that's book is important, and when I go somewhere, and I show people my book. This is my books about communication, about sales. That automatically drains you. People will be surprised, and it helps you get more clients. So that's how we share next week.
Yeah, this actually is a good example for also what we do here at 1 Million Cups, because we don't want you to just develop a short pitch. We want you to do the work, figuring out what it is you're developing, product or service, and figure out why it's going to be important, and then make an overall presentation that will hook an investor or a customer, and you'll find your right, the right audience there.
And also I have a copy for you for 1 Million Cup, and also I acknowledge you guys in the book. So the name of 1 Million Cup, Orlandopreneur, is inside the book.
Okay.
Can I book my seat for next week already?
All right, I think we're wrapped up.
Great.
Thank you all for listening.
All right, Dan was our one presenter for this week, but Rupert's going to talk a little bit about Orlandopreneur, which has been mentioned, and what's coming up in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Is it?
Less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks. Welcome everybody. So who here's been to Orlandopreneur before? I love you all. Y'all dear to my heart. Thank you so much for coming and attending, and many of you are regular attendees. And so this month we're celebrating womenpreneurs, and so we're in the process of partnering up with a number of women-based entrepreneurial startup business organizations. And so they're going to come in and speak. Others are going to be coming in as well and talking, I asked them to teach you, like I do, something you haven't heard before, okay, that you need to hear. And so it's going to be at the Citrus Club on the 20th in their newly renovated facility. The last time we were there in November, we had over 200 people. So I strongly suggest that you RSVP and you show up and support all the womenpreneurs in town, because while they don't get enough funding, they perform better, they have better sales, they're more efficient, they generate higher ROI. It just boggles my mind that VC aren't funding them more. So we want to help bring that to light, and then come on. I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. It's a free event, and I buy the first drink.
And there's a dress code. You have to wear orange, lime, or lemon.
I don't know about that, but there is a dress code, so don't.
Not grapefruit?
No shorts or athletic paraphernalia of any kind. No flip flops.
Business casual.
Business casual, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take this opportunity to let everybody know of some developments that are going on with 1 Million Cups. As many of you know, we were meeting here in the incubator post-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, we were at Rollins College, and for a time last fall, we were back at Rollins College, and then that relationship ended. And we have been looking for a new place to move to grow to, because we had obviously outgrown this space. And in being, today we have 30 people here in the room. 35, I can't count. But we have 35 people here in the room, and that leaves with standing room only. So while it's great to have standing room only, Eric has made the point where, much like a goldfish in a fishbowl, we will only grow to the size of the bowl that we are in.
Yep.
So there is a space downtown that we will be moving to. We're looking at probably June, first part of June, that we're going to be moving to. It is on West Pine Street, in between Orange and Garland. There is the 55 West parking garage right there, which is $2 an hour, and there's a parking lot right across and down the street that is also $2 an hour, and fractional there. You know, it's a $2 minimum, and then fractional of $2 thereafter. So, you know, if you're here for 2 hours, it's going to be $4 to park. We were trying really hard to find a place where we wouldn't have to have anybody have to pay for parking, but this is a building that is going to have Innovate Orlando as their anchor tenant. So if anybody knows of Innovate Orlando or the Orlando Tech Community, they're going to be the anchor tenant there. OMG Labs, which was formerly GameSpace, has moved in there. They're on the first floor, so they're kind of an incubator accelerator program for game developers, and they've already moved in. The UCF Business Incubator downtown will be moving into that space. Starter Studio will be moving into that space, and a few other companies are going to have are going to be based out of there. So it's going to be a nice central hub of entrepreneurial activity. There'll be, you know, a lot of continual resources and other things going on in that space that we're going to be very, very lucky and proud to be a part of. So we're looking forward to that. Again, we're looking at early June. And there is also, and it's enough to come back next week. By next week, I will have, there's a code that if you park on the street at any of the parking meters and you use the Park Mobile app, there is a code, 3 hours of free parking. Subsidized by the city of Orlando.
Do you want to tell them now?
I don't remember it.
It's Park DTO.
Park DTO, yeah, Park Downtown Orlando, Park DTO. So if you're parking downtown and you go into the Park Mobile app and there's that little space that says, you know, hey, you have a coupon code? Well, if you put Park DTO in there, you'll get 3 hours of free parking.
And once you put it in there, every time you come back to Orlando at a different week, it'll automatically apply it.
Is it every week, or I thought it was?
I was getting free parking 2 hours every week.
Okay.
But it only lasted for a few weeks. But yeah.
What's the code?
Park DTO.
Downtown
Orlando.
Capital D, capital T, capital.
So now, if that for some reason stops working, please don't throw knives at me. Yeah. But as long as that works, you know, that's great. The on-street parking is a block or two away, and of course, getting parking downtown is always a little bit of a challenge. But we do have, you know, there are now going to be a few options. So again, we'll have the official announcement of that coming up in the next couple weeks when we have an official date that we're moving in.
Parking on the street is a 2 hour maximum, whereas in
Yes.
a parking lot, I think you can park longer.
You can park,
than 2
yeah,
hours.
you can pay for all day if you want. So
If
those
you
things
use
to keep in mind.
Park Mobile app, don't pay the meter, use the Park Mobile app, you can get a notice, and some spots will let you re-up for another hour or two.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options. Again, we were hoping that we would find a space that would allow us to go in and grow, that wouldn't require parking, because, you know, we do try to make sure that everything is free. So that's you know, one thing that we've kind of had to give on, and we'll try to work as much as we can to make the experience worth it even more. The auditorium in this building is around 100 seats, so we have plenty of room to grow. And we encourage everybody, if you've gotten something out of Dan speaking today or any other presentations, to please continue to attend. We really appreciate your participation in the community, and we appreciate every entrepreneur and every person in here. And we would ask that you tell other entrepreneurs and tell your friends about what you've experienced here. And if you've got any feedback for us, please, you know, get with us. You've seen, you know, there's a number of us on the committee here, and we are open to feedback. We're open to growth, just as we encourage our entrepreneurs who present to be open to feedback and open to growth. You know, we absolutely want to portray that same quality.
What's the name of the building?
we're gonna do an official announcement in the next couple weeks.
Right, you've already told our other tenants, so we can look at it.
Well-
That's how to make it easy.
Well, yeah, some of them
That's all good.
may or may not have their addresses moved yet. But anyway, but we'll have that, cause everything hasn't been completely buttoned up yet. Hopefully I'll get that in before next week. So are there any questions about that besides the exact name of the building? Anyone?
Meeting at the same time?
It will be the same time, starting at 8, networking at 8:30, meeting at 9, and networking, again afterwards. You know, just like here, we're gonna be in someone else's home, so, you know, we just ask that everyone treat it with respect, but, we're still gonna have the coffee and donuts, set up, and hopefully we'll even come up with some other things. Okay.
Just as a point of information, every 1 Million Cups meets at 9 o'clock on Wednesday mornings, their local time, wherever they may be.
No,
There's,
actually,
there's a little bit of variance that's allowed.
yeah,
But generally, that's the
they have to be done by 10.
They have to be done by 10. So there's a few rules that we do have to follow within the Kaufman Foundation and the 1 Million Cups headquarters out of Kansas City. If you have any questions about all of that, we can certainly talk. If you're interested in being a sponsor, and we'll be able to end a little bit early and give everybody a little bit of networking time. But with our sponsors, again, we've got all the swag, which I'm trying to kind of give away. So again, if anybody wants a t-shirt, please see me afterwards. But you know, our sponsors help us in purchasing that swag from the 1 Million Cups organization. And so, you know, we'll be probably placing another order for some things coming up soon. We are looking at potentially getting, you know, maybe some shirts for the organizers to wear some nice polo shirts so that we show off a little bit nicer. Now, when we, you know, if we get somebody that wants to donate money to getting a lot of those, you know, that's something else, but at least for the organizers. So we are looking for some sponsors that might be interested in helping us get some shirts embroidered. And maybe, you know, maybe if we can come up with things that are within the guidelines that we have to stay within. Kaufman Foundation, you know, we can explore that.
Neckties.
Neckties.
Yeah.
Who wears neckties anymore?
Just in 1 Million Cups, that's all we do.
But not that, probably.
Stop.
Then you just got drips of coffee all over stains everywhere.
I'd actually like that, that actually sounds quite nice, yeah.
I have a tire for you to wear.
Does it come with cement shoes?
Chain on it.
So, okay, so there's a little bit of update of what's going on behind the scenes. Again, if anybody has any questions about anything, if you have questions about what the organizing committee is and what it does and how you might be able to help, either as a member of the committee or just, you know, being a good part of the community, please talk with us. And, you know, if you've got a place that maybe should hear about us and like us, one of us come out there and represent, we're working on putting together our presentation so that, you know, any one of us can go out and formally pitch what 1 Million Cups is all about to other organizations. If you think that there's a place that I would appreciate that too. Again, if you've got any questions about any of the other things that are going on in town, you know, we're all connected in 80 different ways all around town. And if you hey, I've heard about this group, I've heard about ODADs, you know, what is that? Or I've you know, what is the Orlando tech community? What's you know, we can point you to the right person, the right people to learn. If you need an introduction to somebody, you know, between the 14 of us, 12 or 14 of us that are on the committee, we are pretty well connected across the community, and other people in here are as well. And if there's somebody that you'd like an introduction to that's maybe in somebody else's circle, you know, approach one of us, and if we can, we'll absolutely
Ethically,
absolutely. But anybody has anything else? And if not, like I say, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes back this week. But if you'd like a T-shirt or a cup, come on up and talk to me, and we'll get you set up. Otherwise, we'll see everybody next week. Thank you very much.
One guy just
FC Clark. They got this article.